Well, guess what? We're back at it with more of your controversial bourbon opinions. This is a part 2 to the original video. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to Brad's Bourbon Reviews. I'm Brad, and today we are doing another deep dive into your most controversial bourbon opinions. I did a part 1 about a month ago, and I kind of let it sit, and I'm here to do the part 2, and I think part 2 might be the best of the 2 parts. So enough chit-chatting, let's dive in. First one comes from BRAD1969, comments and says, Garrison Brothers is undrinkable. Garrison Brothers is great Texas bourbon. I don't think I own any, but I actually went to a whiskey festival, I think last year up in North Carolina. I think it was called the Smoke and Fire Festival. No, that can't be right. I forget what it was called, but I went to it and I covered it. It was a lot of fun. That was my go-to drink at that festival was the Garrison Brothers small batch. I had never really had a ton from Garrison Brothers, but I really ended up liking that one. And I think it's time for me to get one because I'm looking around the room. I figured I would have had one, but I don't have one. So thanks for the reminder to grab a bottle of Garrison Brothers. Moving on to the next one. This comes from Sean Davis. He says, 4 Rose single barrel strength picks are the best single barrels in the game. I don't disagree. That's just there are some really solid single barrels. Like I would say, to me, Blanton's Gold is probably the best single barrel in the game. I've yet to have one that I didn't like. The Jack Daniel's single barrel proofs and the single barrel proof ryes are really good as well. I don't think that the 4 Roses single barrel strength picks are bad by any means. I love mine. The problem is they're just becoming way too expensive. So here's a good example of how much the bourbon industry has really inflated. I got this barrel pick. It's 10 years, 10 months old from Total Wine. It's OESV, 75 corn, 20 rye, 5 malted barley. And this rang up I got this in 2023. There was one randomly one day on the shelf. I think it may have been like a return or something because there's like this weird barcode that's not on any other bottle I've ever seen from Total Wine. I don't know. But it was $78, I think. Now they go for $120. For $120, I think there are better single barrels. At $75, you're getting into the territory where I agree with you here because these are really good. And the thing about these is they're kind of low barrel strength, but this one is 52.8% alcohol, and you can do the math on that because I'm not gonna. If you can get your hands on one reasonably, I would do it. Moving on to the next one. The next one comes from Patrick Coronel. He says lower proof and higher proof bourbons can both be good. Absolutely. Look no further than Michter's 10-year bourbon. Michter's 10-year is is 90 proof, I think, 91 proof, something like that, and it's outstanding. Just because it's low proof doesn't mean it's bad. Just because it's high proof doesn't mean it's good. Could not agree with you more. Moving on to the next one. This one comes from Philin Raimondo. He says, most bourbons over 7 year are not as good. They're just oak bombs, 7 maximum vanilla. I think you need to try better, higher aged things because like a George T. Stagg is it's double that age. They're rumored to be like almost 15, 16 years. And it doesn't have that oak bomb to it. I think it's just about how it's aged because I think I actually tend to disagree. I disagree with you on this because to me, bourbons don't start hitting their stride like as good as they can possibly be up until they're around 10 years old. That's, I find the thing for me where it's the balance of sweet and oak and spice and everything that goes into making bourbon that I like. And I have always found that everything I like is usually 8 years and up. So I disagree with you on that. This is just a preference thing. And you're not wrong for having your preference, except for the fact that you are. Moving on to the next one. This next one comes from John Cashion over on, I think this was YouTube actually. He says, mine is most of the source bourbons are okay at best and overpriced. I will not name them by brand, but they are all over YouTube overpriced, altered, and have deceptive labeling. I don't think the deceptive labeling thing just comes from sourced whiskeys. There are brands like Buffalo Trace with the Traveler that are very deceptive about what's in the bottle. They don't disclose what's in that bottle at all, and I think that's not part of the problem, but I think I think that bottle's just okay. I use it as a mixer, but I think that deceptive labeling is just bad practice in general. I think you should have to state the age of the product on the label. I think that should be a legal requirement. But I also agree with you that most source bourbons are just okay. The problem is a lot of them are just the same type of whiskey, just rebottled. That's one of my biggest gripes with Penelope. It's just MGP whiskey and everyone freaks out about it. And it's just okay. Like, Penelope's fine. There's nothing wrong with Penelope. It's just Penelope. It's just MGP. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. I've that's like my big complaint right now is that people just suck off these brands And it's like, but there's some people that like give MGP crap for making a ton of whiskey and being like the source distillery love Penelope. I don't, it's just very odd to me. So moving on to the next one. This comes from Bradley Tiberius. I like that name, brother. That's strong. Rye whiskey is for people trying to flex and act superior to everyone else. Behind closed doors, they scold their kids for breathing and beat their dog because it loves because it loves the family more than them. That is a wild take, my friend. That's hilarious. I'm not a big rye person. I think anyone who watches this channel knows that I'm not a big rye person, but that's funny. Moving on to the next one. This comes from David Tolber 85. Use the word smooth. I think you mean like you can use the word smooth, or people who use the word smooth annoy you? Because the people who use the word smooth, it doesn't annoy me. I just then go, okay, like you don't know a lot about whiskey, and that's fine. You don't have to know everything about whiskey to enjoy whiskey. And just because I'm a dork doesn't mean you have to be, right? But it does get me going when someone's like, oh, it's super smooth. I'm like, see, if you ever hear me say the word well-rounded, that means I'm trying not to use the word smooth. Just full transparency. Moving on to the next one. This comes from Tornadoes and Cocktails. It says, it is perfectly acceptable to put ice in your bourbon or whiskey. No, it's not. If you don't drink it off the shelf, neat, you're a coward. Moving on to the next one. Obviously, it's a joke. Brian Brown says, Buffalo Trace is garbage and it's only popular because of marketing. I hear this complaint all the time about Buffalo Trace and their marketing. What marketing do they do outside of being like on Rogan's podcast? And I don't even know if they're still a sponsor for that. What marketing do they do exactly? Never seen a Buffalo Trace commercial. They're on Instagram, but so is every other whiskey company. What marketing do they do? Also, it's not trash. Like that is such a stupid thing to say. This must be one of Timmy's burner accounts. No, it's not garbage. Like there's a reason people seek these bottles out. It's because at retail you can literally not do better. You literally can't do better. Put any wheated bourbon at 90 proof up against Weller Special Reserve. I guarantee you Special Reserve comes out on top. I've done this blind with friends. They always pick out the Buffalo Trace products, even people who say they don't like them. Timmy. So Stag's bad. The entire Buffalo Trace Antique Collection is bad. Blanton's Gold is bad. Elmer Teely is bad. Rock Hill Farms is bad. Eagle Rare is bad. Pappy 10, 12, 15, those are all terrible. No, they're not. And you know just as well as anyone else that if you saw any of those bottles that I just mentioned at retail, you'd buy it right there on the spot. Moving on to the next one. This comes from Silver Bullet. They say, Hirsch, the single barrel 9-year is awesome and not worth a purple buck. I have no idea what the fuck that means. Moving on to the next one. Oh, look at this. Cat. Weller is average on a good day. Which one? Special Reserve or the entire lineup? The entire lineup is not average. The entire lineup is well above average. I would include Special Reserve in that, especially for $21.99, which is what I can get it here. Like, what's a better bottle at 90 proof than Weller Special Reserve? I'll wait. Moving on to the next one. Girl loves her whiskey says bourbon isn't the end all to whiskey. Yes, it is. G95 tequila is better and also better for you than bourbon. Tequila is dog shit, and all these grifters who are doing bourbon content and now switched over to tequila, you're a grifter. We all know what you're doing. I guess I'll do a fake wink. I don't mean that. Yes, I do. And also, if we're arguing about what's better for you, like none of this is good for you. I'm not going to argue semantics about what's slightly better. It doesn't matter. They're both terrible for you, and that's okay. As long as you do it in moderation, you're fine. Moving on to the next one. James says Travelers is trash. It's not great. I think I like it more than most people do, though. I use it as a mixer. When I did my review of it, I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. And I was kind of surprised to see all the hate towards it because it's not that bad. Is it great? No. Should it cost $40? No, but it has a celebrity attached to it that they have to pay that person. I get it. I get the backlash, but it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. And that's my controversial bourbon opinion. This comes from Bourbon Tales. Woodford Double Oaked is bad to me. Weird. I've never heard anyone say they don't like Woodford Double Oaked. Bourbon Tales, you were the first, and congratulations, you're objectively wrong. Moving on to the next one. This comes from Chris. Say that Old Forester 1910 is the best daily pour out there. That is up there for sure. I think that's a really solid bottle. I do like 1910 quite a bit. And in fact, I have a video. It'll either have already come out by the time this one comes out, or will come out on Wednesday, the day after this one comes out, where I rank the entire Whiskey Row series and find out where 1910 landed on that. It's a little surprising. So I'll give you a little tease there, and you should probably see it if it's out already. At the end of this video, you can click the little annotation at the end. But 1910, there's nothing wrong with 1910 whatsoever. Moving on to the next one. This goes from Port a Getaway. Rio Penelope sucks, and anyone who likes it isn't really a bourbon fan, and their opinion no longer matters. That's the kind of comment I came here for. This is what I'm talking about. I love this comment. I have not had Penelope, so I can't comment on if you're correct or not. But that's the kind of hot take I wanted. I wanted people to come in here and just like completely obliterate people who like things. That's what I'm here for. Moving on to the next one. Okay, this comes from Harpist Betsy. Women are allowed to drink bourbon and single malt neat. Okay, that isn't so controversial now, but back in the dark ages when I started drinking nothing but single malt neat, I actually had people, including bartenders, tell me that was not ladylike, and I should order something else. That, of course, only caused me to order another round. Here's my controversial opinion. Women shouldn't be in bourbon, period.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
I'm only saying that because Betsy knows me and knows that I'm joking around. And this is, it's clearly a joke. It's clearly a joke. Don't get mad at me. Of course you can drink whiskey neat, like if you're a girl. Who told you that? Like, what dullard said that to you? I said it, but I was joking. Who said that seriously to you? That like, I would just like leave. If someone said, like, if me and Holly went out and she ordered a whiskey neat and they're like, that's not very ladylike, I go fuck yourself. And I would get up and walk out. Yeah, that's crazy. I would have ordered another round too. And I'll go, actually, I'll take a double neat. I would just double down. Good comment, though. I really like that. And Betsy, thank you. And together as one. People who just know bourbon content, for bourbon content, have no idea what I just said. And they probably think it's a cult. Moving on to the next one. This one comes from my personal friend, Robert Fernandez. He says, TikTok being overrun with a handful of guys chasing free bottles and monetizing their reviews. Harder and harder to get, quote, real recommendations now, especially as bourbon sales slide. Very skeptical now. And I can say I've seen you, Brad, always honest and straight when you get a sample to try. Talking about the rest of the herd. Have to really avoid the hype monsters now. Well, first off, thank you. I look at it this way. If I get something for free sent to me, which hasn't happened in quite a long time because I think the brands that did send me things did not like that I wasn't overly lovey-dovey of what they sent. And, you know, I don't think they just watched the review. Like, I've recommended things that have been sent for free. But I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with the concept. To me, I look at it this way. If I get something for free, I have to be honest about it, because if I get something for free, I'm going to feel bad if I lied to you and told you to go get something that I actually didn't like that you then spent your money on. I feel like I have that responsibility no matter what I do, but especially if I get something for free. If I have ever said in a review that I liked something, I liked it. I do not lie in my reviews. That defeats the point of doing the reviews. I don't get channels that lie about it. There's no reason to do that. If you don't like it, that's fine. And the distillery should respect that it's not for you. Now, if you go in and you shit on something, like, and then the distillery is like, hey man, what the fuck? Like, I understand that. There's a way to critique something you don't like and not be a dick about it. I can make this promise to you guys, and I have since day one. I will never lie to you about what I like. If it's free, if I spent $1,000 on it, I'm going to tell you the truth. For example, I've recently just got a Pappy Lot B. I've had it before. I'm going to do the review of it when I get around to opening it. I think I'm going to wait for my family to get here and open it with them. I spent $120 on that Pappy. Not a ton of money, especially for the Lot B. I understand. But if I don't like it, I'm not going to say I like it just in hopes that Buffalo Trace like sends me something at some point. They're never going to. But I just don't get why you would lie. Like, it doesn't do anything for you. And I have bottles that I have to defend that I like. There's like Traveler was one of them. I liked it more than most people, but hey, I liked it more than most people. I'm not going to lie to you about it. Why would I lie about it? But yeah, there is a lot of that going around, Robert. And I appreciate the kind words. I really, really do. And I do my best to give you guys the most accurate review. That's why I started doing the point system, which I immediately forgot after the second video I did, but it's staying around. So I appreciate it very much. Well, everyone, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like and comment down below. We are on our way to 2,500 subscribers. And I did do the giveaway. I made a community post about it, so go check that out. The winner was tagged in that. And that's it. I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, cheers.